Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, respected viewers. We are going to present today a recap of everything that took place in India in 2021, specifically related to Indian Muslims. We have categorized several small incidents into leading topics. This report, inshallah, will give you a clear picture on how atrocious India was on Muslims in 2021. So let's start first with the most oppressed place occupied by India, that is Kashmir. Kashmir, another year of atrocities. It was again a year of deaths, arrests and atrocities in Kashmir by Indian administration. Modi claimed that Kashmir will become like Dubai as UAE has committed for infrastructure investment in Kashmir to develop it into a modern but morally corrupt state. Modi called for an all-Kashmir party's leaders meet in Delhi and announced delimitation of seats after which elections will take place in Kashmir. With delimitations, Modi is allocating more seats in Hindu-dominating region. Militancy activities increased in Kashmir and many Indian forces' personnel were targeted. In reply, Indian forces have been killing innocent Kashmiris, titling them as militants. Internet shutdowns and tight control over movements constituted the major part of the year in Delhi. The COVID-19 cases kept on increasing with high mortality as Indian administration intentionally delayed treatment facilities. UN Rights Commission and other human rights organizations globally have been questioning India on these atrocities. But India either didn't reply or just mentioned all these are done for security of people. A major arrest which India did was of human rights activist Pervez Khurram with false accusation of being a militant. India got internationally criticized for his arrest, but still, till date, he's not yet released. India has expressed publicly its plan to move beyond Indian-occupied Kashmir to Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Towards the end of the year, the Indian Chief Defence Staff Bipin Rawat died in a helicopter crash, whose cause remained dubious, and he was the same general who has brought havoc on Kashmiris. And viewers, Ram Mandir turns into Hindu Rashtra movement. The extremist Hindu groups like RSS, VHP and others have turned Babri Masjid demolition and construction of mega Ram temple at that location into a national movement of transforming India into a Hindu nation. India by constitution is secular state where all faiths and of no faith both have equal rights. But 2021 has seen a complete directional change towards India becoming a place only for Hindus. At various occasions, meeting RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat has been referring to the foundation stone day of Ram Temple as day of real freedom for India. UP chief Yogi wants Ram Mandir to become a national temple and Modi himself has been capitalizing on this. Ram Temple has also been presented as an icon to the world for defeating Muslims and as a reference that Muslims, even though they possess jihadi and revolutionary spirit, can be defeated. Ram Mandir model was presented by India in Dubai Expo in their pavilion when all other nations were presenting their industrial and economic achievements. India was presenting its ideological victory. In 2021, Ram Mandir at Ayodhya has turned into a nightmare for Muslims. Some ignorant Muslims leaders thought that by taking their hands off from this dispute land of Babri Masjid, they would become peaceful. But 2021 has taken away their sleeps now. And physical assault and massacre of Muslims. 2021 has witnessed a series of continuous attacks on Muslims, either as mob lynching under pretext of cow protection, attacks on small pockets of Muslim villages like near Raipur, state-sponsored attacks on Assam Muslims with the justification of cleansing land encroachment, and a sample genocide in Tripura. In northern Tripura district of Tripura state, VHP organized a rally to protect against an articulated conspiracy attack on Hindu idols in Bangladesh. During this protest, VHP workers vandalized Muslim properties and eventually burned 13 mosques. There were several Muslims killed and injured with their houses burned to ashes. For several nights, Muslims lived under extreme fear of mob attacks and big number left the town. Instead of taking actions against miscreants, Government did the opposite by arresting 102 people who raised their voices against this massacre, including journalists. People were arrested from social media and many accounts were blocked by Indian government. Indian government did brutal cleansing of Muslim homes in Assam under pretext of encroachment, and the news that hit global headlines was the picture of an Assam Muslim being shot by forces and then a journalist jumping on his chest. A list of few other such incidents are: houses of Member of Parliament Asaduddin Awaisi and former Congress Salman Khurshid were attacked, vandalized and burnt. Salman was attacked for resembling extremist Hindus to Taliban in his book. Qasim Abdullah, arrested by Godhra, Gujarat police for cow meat, committed suicide in lockup after cruel torture. Several youths were arrested under cow protection and love jihad. Muslim boy was beaten badly in Dasna temple of Yati Narsimhanand for drinking water. Arbaz, a Muslim boy, was brutally beaten to death by Ram Sina for having an affair with a Hindu girl. Abdul Samad, an old man in Gurgaon, was brutally thrashed. His beard was cut and forced to chant Jai Shri Ram. These were just few incidents presented due to limitation of time. And now to talk about attacks on Islamic identity. Another wave of attacks that has been going on since before became more aggressive in 2021, and this was to eradicate Muslim identities. The most prominent being mosques, whereby Kashi Mosque area turned into a temple, a shrine in MP vandalized, a mosque in Barabanki crushed to dust, and many small mosques came under attack. A major movement started against iconic Mathura Idgah to be demolished and turned into Krna temple, with Deputy Chief Minister of UP claiming to convert this into temple. After mosques, Friday prayers in open came under attack, and for weeks a crusade started against the Muslims offering Friday prayers in Gurgaon. The Hindu mobs gathered in these places and blocked Muslims from offering prayers, and administration in a subtle manner was supporting the extremists. And finally, Chief Minister Haryana passed a law that no Friday prayers would be offered in open areas. This movement then started to move across the country. Next in line was Azan, whereby UP police banned use of loudspeakers for Azan from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. after complaints from Allahabad University Vice Chancellor. Similarly, Karnataka court ordered investigation to assess the noise pollution created with Azan on loudspeakers. BJP Minister Sadhvi commented that Azan raises the blood pressure of sick patients. Madrasas were asked to teach Hindu religion and Hindu sacred book Gita and Ramayana. The language in madrasas should be Hindi. Uniform Civil Code argument has gone to the next level and looks like 2022 would see a UCC coming in India, whereby only Hindu laws would be allowed and no judiciary laws would permit Sharia laws. Population Control Bill was introduced in UP to control Muslim population and to take all government benefits from Muslims. Urdu language was seen as an Islamic language, and a Fab India advertisement that used Urdu word Jashan came under fire from extremist Hindus. And if this was not enough, even the liberal namesake Muslim and other celebrities came under fire, whereby film star Amir Khan was condemned for promoting No Crackers advertisement. Javed Akhtar ended up with FIR when he compared RSS VHP to Taliban. Comedian Munawar Farooqi's 13 shows were banned. And Mohammad Shami, the Indian cricketer, was badly abused and blamed as traitor when India lost cricket match against Pakistan. Even Indian captain Virat Kohli was not spared for supporting Shami, and his infant daughter was given rape threats. And not to forget the Sully Deals app, which posted hundreds of Muslims working women for sale at 1 rupee with their pictures. This was and is happening and growing day by day. But Indian government has not prosecuted a single person in all these atrocities. Hate speeches become viral across India. A big upheaval of hate speeches were seen across India. Yati Narsimhanand came out as a leader of hate speeches against Muslims. A Hindu priest, Yati Narsimhanand, who got trained in UK by RSS wing, returned back to India with the motive to create a Hindu militancy wing to completely wipe off Muslims. He first insulted Prophet, Quran and Allah in Delhi Press Club After this, in December, he did a 3-day hate speech conference in Haridwar with all Hindu priests with a single agenda that all Hindus should arm themselves with high-tech weapons to do mass killing of Muslims. Ashwini Upadhyay organized a protest on iconic Jantar Mantar in Delhi, raising slogans like Allah kata jayega, mullah kate jayenge. Several other hate speeches were made on the same lines by many lady priests, sadhvis, and even for Kashmiris that their skin should be stripped off. During COVID wave, hatred was seen against Muslim COVID-19 patients, whereby hospitals were refusing to treat them. All these hate speeches became viral through social media and nothing was blocked. An ex-Facebook employee did the whistleblowing that Facebook had made special laws for India, whereby they are not filtering any hate content from India against Muslims, and in fact promoting such pages. And now to talk about Wasim Rizvi. Wasim Rizvi went high up in news first when he presented a new version of Quran, removing 26 verses related to Jihad from Quran. After this, he wrote a book, Muhammad, brutally insulting the Holy Prophet, Allah and Islam. This created a big wave in India with all muftis and sects declaring him as apostate, and some kept a price money for his head, but he remained untouched. Eventually, Wasim Rizvi joined hands with Yati Narsimhanand and accepted Hindu religion. Before converting to Hinduism, Wasim Rizvi presented himself as Shia and mentioned that other Muslims are followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whereas Shias are not. And love jihad and anti-conversion bills. VHP demanded anti-conversion law in whole India. The law implies that if any Hindu converts to Islam with any Muslim involved, specifically Hindu girl marrying Muslim, would be considered as love jihad, a crime for Muslims with severe punishment of imprisonment up to 10 years and heavy fine. Several states like Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh passed such anti-conversion bills. And other states like Haryana, Assam, Karnataka, and overall 10 states will have these laws soon. Maulana Kaleem Siddiqui, along with more than 10 of his connections, were arrested with accusation that they are running a racket of converting Hindus to Islam with foreign funding. Despite of all efforts and some voices raised, Indian government didn't release him. Many Muslim youths were arrested for love jihad and mob lynched. Love jihad has been turned into an anti-Muslim weapon, and in 2021 it created a wave of fear amongst Muslim youths who study, work in environments where Hindu women are present to be trapped anytime, arrested or beaten to death with any such false accusation of love jihad. And now to talk about social media regulations in India. India passed new social media laws under which all social media giants operating in India like Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter, WhatsApp will have to provide to access any information whenever government demands. They will have to block any content asked for, and more above, they will have to provide the origin of content or post. The social media giants initially resisted, but later all submitted and agreed. COVID-19, India became the second nation worldwide. India saw a huge second wave which started from Kumbh festival where millions gathered under fake COVID-19 testing. As a result, massive outbreak took place and COVID-19 cases in India crossed 34 million with 480,000 deaths. The situation became unmanaged due to lack of health facilities, oxygen and even places to bury, cremate dead bodies were not enough. 150 decomposed human dead bodies were found floating in river Ganga. The education system became locked and hospitals were maltreating patients with excess charges. It all seemed to be done intentionally for two reasons. One was to impose a strict vaccination drive, and second was to get foreign investment for digitization of system, moving them online. Modi faced first defeat through farmers. Indian farmers were protesting against 3 anti-farmer law amendments which Modi has done to support the capitalist giants who would then govern the entire agricultural economy of India. Thousands of farmers camped for more than a year at Delhi borders, braving cold, heat, violence, with 700 farmers losing their lives. As Modi became helpless to stop this movement, son of Union Minister Ajay Mishra crushed many farmers to death under his SUV. Farmers were also raising issue of Kashmir in their protest. Eventually, Modi submitted to farmers, apologized and took back repealed the law. This was the first time in history of Modi that he has taken back his decision. Attacks on Christians. 2021 has seen 300 instances of violent attacks on Christians in India. More than 38 churches were attacked and most cases were in the state of Karnataka. Christian books were burnt, raids were done by mobs on Christian prayer halls on Sundays. In state of Odisha, Christian homes were set on fire by radical Hindus. On the eve of Christmas in Gurgaon, a church was attacked during prayers and panic created. The effigy of Santa Claus was burnt. A statue of Jesus Christ was vandalized in Ambala on Christmas Day, and Bajrang Dal, the militant wing of BJP, marched into a church in Assam to stop the Christmas prayers. There was an international uproar on these anti-Christian atrocities as well, but Modi didn't take any action to control these violence. Modi invited Pope Francis to visit India, and in reply, VHP demanded that if he visits India, he should apologize for 350 years of genocide done by Christians and for religious conversions. Mother Teresa charity organization, all bank accounts were frozen by Indian government and license to collect funds for charity is not renewed. This left 22,000 patients without medicine and food now. This was done under pressure from right-wing Hindu extremist group. Christian missionaries have been screaming to know whether they are even considered as Indian citizens now. Hindus are not ready to accept Christians because they accuse them with religious conversions, luring Hindus with money to accept Christianity and consider them as bad omen for the nation. This is all after for decades that more than 80% of Indian highly educated people have come out from Christian missionary convent schools. Bollywood goes high on Islamophobia. Bollywood turned high in promoting anti-Islam and Islamophobic content and produced films with high budget and star cast. These films primarily were presented Islam as a religion of terrorism and extremism. Few high-rated films like Suryavanshi was released in which good Muslim and bad Muslim was differentiated, whereby a good Muslim is one who is supporter of Indian government and bad Muslim is one who prays, keeps beard, is Maulana and eventually is also a terrorist. Similarly, in movie Bhuj, a Muslim spy was shown stoned to death by Pakistani forces in an environment where Shia's blood flagellation ritual is seen along with name of Imam Hussain is spoken aloud. Famous Bollywood actress Kangana Ranaut came in limelight with her rhetoric against Muslims on Twitter, Instagram, whereby she consistently would post Muslims as terrorists. We can say at the end that Bollywood delivered its rights of loyalty to Modi. This was a summary of the atrocities, tyranny, cruelty, and above all, injustice which India did against Muslims and other minorities like Christians in 2021. And the year ended with a mega blast done by Hindu priests in Haridwar for 3 days, openly called Hindus to arm themselves with guns to kill Muslims. And Modi's government remained deaf on this. What would be the future of these minorities in India in 2022? Muslims are under hope that BJP might lose elections in UP and they will get a setback. But they have forgotten that the lion has tasted blood. Even if Modi wants now, these extremists cannot stop. And neither are the Indian forces so strong to carry out mega operations to control these extremist outfits across the country. 2022 is expected to be tougher for Muslims specifically, and a year where they have to take a cautious decision to either die with humiliation or with dignity, because death is inevitable in either cases. We pray for the safety, security, and well-being of all oppressed people of the world. Stay tuned with Bethat News. Allah Hafiz.